Eagles! Yes, sir! Holy cow, we are here for football, man. It's content every single minute. The National Football League has now owned the sports pages. They own it. They own the sports pages, man. Yeah, dude, Ohtani, trade deadline. Now that Ohtani's not even on the trade block now, I don't give a shit about baseball. The NBA, I don't care. Funny, those are the highest paid guys in all of sports, but it's funny, our passion is football. Can I tell you why I think football, besides the great sport that it is, why you love it more than, say, NBA or baseball or hockey or whatever? You know why you do? Because players actually, 95% of them have to go out and earn their paychecks. Obviously, we're talking about a lot more zeros than what you make, the majority of the people. But most of these guys got to go out and earn it. How many people have guaranteed contracts in their life? I don't think I've ever had. Well, I think I've had a few in broadcasting. Other than that, not really many. Not really many, man. So every American that has now fallen in love with pro football, it's because these guys have to go to work just like you. And, of course, the sport being what it is, contact. And what you can't do, like in politics, you can't change the narrative. You got beat. Like, as much as the 49er fans want to sit and cry about, well, if we had this, ain't nothing about 2020 elections in pro football. Ain't about moving ballot boxes. About scoreboard. Scoreboard, bitch. It's all you hear. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Micah Parsons barking about it's time for the Cowboys. We're the best team in the NFC East. Guy's a king of lip service. He ain't a king of showing up against the Eagles. Last I checked, Lane Johnson has the pink slip on that guy's ass. How you doing? We're the team to beat. Really? Well, first get around Lane. Yes. Hey, wait a minute. I have a owner's manual over here, and it says, "Dear Micah Parsons, dear Micah Parsons, Lane Johnson owns you." All he's doing is pumping his team up and himself. That's insecurity. Champions don't go like this. We're repeat champions again. You just go out and do it. See, champions don't talk with insecurities because they don't have any. Champions talk with their actions. It's just lip service. Hey, seriously, before you say the Cowboys will beat the Eagles, why don't you win a significant playoff game that matters first? You haven't in 30 years. This just in. When's the last big game the Cowboys won? Oh, that's right. The internet wasn't around. Hey, can you imagine that tone? Shit, man. Twitter wasn't even around the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. This just in. When's the last time I think Bill Clinton was in the White House. Shit. We're talking 3 presidents ago. Come on, man. Cowboys talking about it's their time. It's never the Cowboys' time. And it hasn't been the Cowboys' time in 30 years. Come on now. Hey, yeah, that's right. Look, I got something down here. What's this? Hey, Tone, here's the last time the Cowboys were good. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 8, 5, 1. Yeah. Hello, this is Jerry. Is Jerry there? Hey, is Jerry there? Well, I'm calling you on a phone, an actual hardline phone here. Yeah. And look, you see, it's even got the numbers. Dumb one. Jerry's not around? Oh, okay. Him and Joe Biden are a weekend at Bernie's. Oh, Sure, okay, no problem. Hey, goodbye. See, look, that's the last time the Cowboys were good. You were pushing buttons like this. Give me a break, man. Murray Hill 7. Who are you calling? Arlington. Are you kidding me, man? Shit. Micah Parsons barking about it's their turn. Win a game. Win a game that matters, man. Honest to God. All right. So wait a minute. Hold on for a second here. Hold on. I'm breaking out. Hang on. I couldn't wait. I got to clean my glasses off too. Hold on. Wait, not clean enough. We now have a new update from Elliot Spitzer Pauly Shore. Holy shit. Another great day for Jalen Hurts. 11 of 14. No touchdowns, no picks. Look good. B+. Yeah, baby. Got a B grade going. Elliot Pauly Spitzer's short thing for WIP gives us a daily grade on Jalen Hurts' walkthroughs. Man, that's coverage. That's elite coverage. Screw anybody else covering the team. When you can get Elliot Spitzer Pauly Shore giving you updates with helmets and helmets, shells, and shorts, you're getting an update. B+ though. Can't give him a hard A. Oh man. Hey, by the way, I do want to say something serious that I saw on the Eagle Twitter page that I absolutely loved. Why do you guys think it's important? Or here, let's go here. Why do you think it's hard to repeat? Why do you think it's hard to repeat as a division champion, let alone get to the NFC title game or get to a Super Bowl? What's the hardest thing you think you have to fight off if you want to consistently have championship pedigree year in and year out? What's the one thing you think you have to not have a letdown like you see a lot of teams after Super Bowls, win or lose? What's the one thing you have to fight? What's that one thing? I think I saw it today. And I saw it with the Eagles. Dosa goes health. Quan injuries. Senor injuries. Moving on from last year. I love that take, Brandon. I love that take. Health. There it is, JM. JM hit it. Let's see what Tone says. Perfect. Both JM and Tone I don't think you guys desire. Look, I don't think any of you guys have a wrong answer. But tell me if you go down this lane here. And I happen to agree with Tone and JM. Ego, here, maybe this plays it all in. I saw something today on the Eagle Twitter page. And I saw Nick Sirianni get on the offense's ass. It wasn't about drop passes or wasn't about anything like, not catching a football or throwing a football, or it was more about technique. The little things. I think sometimes because you give your players, after a while, they build up equity with you as a coach. And what you'll do is, if a guy doesn't run a proper technique but still makes the catch, do you know what a coach will do? Well, he knows what it takes to get back to a Super Bowl. He knows. So you kind of overlook it. You kind of let the little things walk through practices. And you don't practice the intangibles that you did a year ago to climb that mountain. Maybe there's an extra step that when a coach sees, instead of doing a proper in route, the guy does a route, it's good enough, he catches it, and you move on. You're not practicing consistency and you're not practicing the things you did a year ago. You know, I think a lot of teams, what happens, the coach stops driving you because you know why? He's giving you the latitude. Well, you know what it takes to get there. Look at Belichick. He drove that damn franchise for 20 years into the ground and into Super Bowls. He drove those guys year in and year out. He jumped Brady's ass. He got in everybody. He drove those guys like dogs, practicing out. 6-time Super Bowl champion, practicing outside in December in snowstorms. He didn't give a shit what the weather was. We weren't doing anything indoors. You don't play football indoors. Okay? The exact quote was, it's got to be perfect now because it ain't freaking perfect now. It ain't going to be perfect when shit's going on in the game. Absolutely. Absolutely. And get this. You learned one thing. You learned one thing from that Kansas City game, didn't you? As good as we were, man, we had to be perfect to beat him. We have to be perfect to beat him. Man, to me, all the games that they played last year, that Kansas City game would eat at me because we weren't perfect. Do you know what it feels like to have your hand on perfection and on greatness, and you're right there at the door, and all of a sudden, you lose your moment and you lose your place in history because you weren't perfect? I don't give a shit about the other team. Let me say this to you. Here, I've never asked you this question. Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Eagles, or do you think the Eagles gave it to them? If you can answer it, it's cool. Do you think and by the way, when I say gave it to him, you gave it to him because you weren't prepared mentally to do the perfect things that you needed to do to beat him. That's on your ass still. That's on your ass. Okay? Kansas City did all the things it took to be a perfect team that second half. They were perfect. They were perfect in the second half. It took that to beat you. You couldn't match perfection. That's how close you are. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, there's not a team on your schedule you can't beat. The only people you have to fight is you. There's not one team on that schedule they can't beat. Like you go like this, you go into a game and you go, that Eagles are going to struggle against it. No. Now, you may have to travel 3,000 miles to go play Seattle after you play tough games against San Francisco. Yeah, okay. But there is not one team on that schedule where you go, no, they are a decided favorites to beat us. There's not one team there. Eagles have to, you want to win a Super Bowl? Hey, to beat Tom Brady, you had to have an A+ second half. Tone, you think the Eagles played an A+ second half against the Patriots in that 2018 Super Bowl? You think they played? And get this. Foot on the gas pedal. Whatever it took in that second half, you had to beat Brady. They never took their foot off the gas. That's right. That's right. And I agree, they were phenomenal in that second half. They were phenomenal. Look at Quan. One play decided that game. Of course it did. It's Brady. It's Mahomes. Here's the plays that decided the Super Bowl why you lost. There's 3, actually. The Quez drop, the special teams play, and the scoop and score. Over. night. You could pick up your commemorative. I was in the Super Bowl trophy tomorrow morning down at the garbage station. Great. You pick up your commemorative second place trophies in the trash can. Because Brady and Gronk was coming, they got hot and defense couldn't stop. Foles and those boys kept the pressure on. They did. And you saw the Patriots at the very end couldn't take the pressure because the Eagles just, man, they were so good in that second half. They were so good in that second half, man. You got to be perfect. And I loved it. I thought today when I saw that clip, the Eagles at NovaCare are going to practice one thing. You know what that's going to be? We have to go over every single step that we did a year ago and then some. We can't have anybody cutting corners. You can't have any cutting corners. It's a mindset that's impossible to match. But you have to do your damnedest, man. That's why focus. You know, it's funny. Tone was talking to me about the Netflix series. I don't want to do a Netflix series. I don't give a shit about that. That takes me off my game. I don't need that. I need to follow every single thing that I did. Okay? Last year, to be able to get to that football game, no questions asked. No questions asked. Real quick before I get into the topics here. So I want to show you what a bullshit artist that owner in Indianapolis is today. So I'm hearing now that Jim Irsay's walking back his comments about running backs because he was confronted by Stephen Holder, my friend from ESPN. Were you aiming that comment at Jonathan Taylor? No. So let me get this right. The owner of the Indianapolis Colts was talking about every other running back in the league, about where the pay scale is, where the negotiations are, except his own guy. Really? What a liar. What a bull-faced lie. Don't ever believe anything from that guy ever. And I'm saying you haven't not believed that guy, but he's untrustworthy. That owner is nowhere near the owner in Philadelphia or the owner in New England. They tell you who you are in Philly, and they tell you who you are in New England. Irsay's a liar. Oh, I see every running back in the league except his, who happens to be a top 3 back. He wasn't talking to. Okay, guy. What a bullshit artist. That's bullshit artist A+ in why those guys can't be counted on for any truth whatsoever. He's walked it back. No, Jonathan, I'm not talking about my guy. Yeah, he should have held out too. He should have held out too. No, he wasn't talking about his guy, but everybody else's guy. Boy, we got a lot of shit talking from head coaches and owners so far leading into training camp here. And by the way, I see Sean Payton walked it back. You can't walk that back. You can't walk back taking a shit on your own organization and another organization and say it's cool. You got to remember something. He not only took a shit on the Jets, he took a shit on the Broncos. So what are you saying? The new ownership that took over from the Bolden family let chaos run around? Well, those are the same people that gave you $20 million a year. So you thought you'd take a shit on somebody who's paying you. This place was a train wreck last year. What a bunch of losers. They gave you and brought you in and gave up first-round picks for you. Okay, Sean. I still had my Fox hat on. Well, are you in or not as a coach for the Broncos? That bugs me. You're more concerned about being an analyst now than you are the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Yeah, but dude, when you're a head coach, who gives a shit about what's going on with my neighbor? I got enough to do here. Doesn't Sean Payton have enough work to do? Jesus, criminy guy. Get your shit together. Either you want to be an analyst for Fox or you want to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. So are you doing what Parcells did in Miami? Are you stealing money in Denver? Dude, makes me feel he's not all in. Makes me feel that dude's not all in. All right, let's get to the Eagle topics. I'm going to look at the Patriots a little more. And we're going to start game planning that week 1 game because I think that week 1 game is going to be tougher than you think. But I'm also going to do this. I want to ask you guys an opinion here. Who are the 9 and rank them? The 9 most important players for the Philadelphia Eagles to get back to the NFC title game. And the reason I said top 9, I'm not going to put Hurts in this conversation. I am not going to put Jalen Hurts in the conversation because we all know you don't have a good quarterback, you can't win a Super Bowl. You just can't. So we know he's the number 1 priority for this team to get back to the NFC title game. I have ranked the top 9. Okay? And there's different notes here next to these 9 guys. We all know Hurts has to duplicate at least what he did a year ago. Okay? Top 9 players I've ranked for the success of the football team. And for these players, they'll have a spotlight on them if they want to get back to the NFC title game. Okay? Here we go. Number 9. I got Terrell Edmonds. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Might be an upgrade. I happen to think after watching numerous game film on Gardner Johnson's overrated. Heck of a player. No, I'll take that back. Heck of an athlete. I think he's going to struggle in Detroit. I think he had a fluke year. I didn't say that 3 months ago, but I watched him. Horrible run fits, lost in coverage. He had a fluky year. I don't think he duplicates it. I think it was a fluke. I don't think he's as good as people think. I think he's overhyped. I think he's overrated. He's surely not a safety. And by the way, if you think about it, one of the reasons why the Saints gave up on him, because he's not a corner. Gardner Johnson was a Gator. He was a corner. And so when they put him in the slot, he was kind of like running around back there without responsibility. So Edmonds might actually be a more technically sound player. And I believe if he plays as good as he possibly can, I think his play is going to be important to the success of the defense this year, especially in the safety area and in the secondary. Okay? Yes. So I think Edmonds' play is important. We talked the last 2 days about Dean. I'm not going to continue to beat the kid up here. But at middle linebacker, he has got not just a dot on his helmet, he's got a bullseye on his helmet. And I'm not going to beat the kid up here for the next 5 minutes. His play will be the most important play of anybody on the defensive side. If he doesn't play well, you will not have a good defense in 2023 because you don't have the depth at linebacker now. And if he doesn't show up and at least get close to the 59 tackles that Edwards has, you're not going to be a very good defense this year. You're just not. Here's Tone. A.J. Brown, 1. Kelsey, 2. Lane, 3. Mulata, 4. Bradbury, 5. Davis, 6. Slay, 7. Dean, 8. And Edmonds, 9. I like that. If Nakobe Dean doesn't play well, and again, I'm not going to sit here and beat him up. We've been talking about him for 2 days now. If he doesn't play well, you will not have a good defense in 2023. You would have been unprepared. If he happens to play well, you may have a good-looking unit that could contend for a top 10 spot. Okay? Dan, you noticed they were splitting reps between Ellis and Morrow? I think that shows Roseman made a mistake with TJ. And now it's trying to use Ellis, who's a similar size. Yeah, because they're small on that side. Morrow and Dean are tiny. They'll get run over by the NFL guards of today. It's a miscalculation. There's no question about it. They should never have let go TJ Edwards. Biggest mistake in the offseason was, again, if you had hired, like I said yesterday, Vic Fangio or an experienced D coordinator, that's one thing. But to have an inexperienced D coordinator and you don't have anybody that's ever played the middle linebacker position on your roster, I don't know how you think that's smart football. You have zero experience at Mike. The most important position on the defense is the Mike linebacker. We'll see, dude. I think you're smaller. I think you're more inexperienced. And I don't think you have very good tacklers on that team, and you didn't. According to Pro Football Focus, the Eagles were one of the worst tackling teams a year ago, and they were the second-ranked defense in the NFL. Now you lose all those guys, your top 5 tacklers, and you think you're better? Have at it. Let's move on. Okay? Let's move on here because I don't want to sit on this kid here because personally, I don't believe it, but that's an opinion. That's an opinion. I don't believe that kid's going to be good enough to be in that Mike linebacker spot. I think he should have started his career as a Sam or a Will, not Mike. And that's going to be a fundamental decision that they made, and they're going to miscalculate here. They always do on linebackers. When's the last linebacker they drafted that was worth a shit? Edwards was a UDFA. He was an undrafted free agent. So they found him. They didn't draft him. When's the last linebacker the Eagles drafted that was worth a shit? Can you name me one? Who, Jeremiah Trotter? That's 100 years ago. That's 100 years ago. Okay? Jordan who? Okay, let me move on to this. And again, what we're doing here is I've ranked the 9 players that I think have to be important to the success of the Eagles in 2023. Okay? Michael Kendricks. Okay? I think you guys, with every name you put up there, tells me all I need to know. You haven't drafted a linebacker in 100 years that's worth a shit. And now you're going to think that you landed on Dean, who's a tiny kid. And you're going to put him at Mike. I don't believe it. But, again, that's an opinion. So I have to give him the benefit here. Good luck to you. We shall see. We'll know immediately in that New England game. We'll know immediately in the New England game. They're going to attack him right away. The Patriots are going to go right at him. And by the way, I think the Patriots have the components to beat you. And I'll explain. Number 7, DeAndre Swift. What's his role going to be? How good is he? How good can he be in that offense? I'm leaning towards him being a factor. I'm leaning towards DeAndre Swift If he is here, I'll make this point to you. If Swift plays 15 ball games, he'll make the Pro Bowl. He's a really talented kid. And the Eagles will be in the NFC title game if he plays 15 games. Because he'll be around 800 yards, 500. And by the way, I'm going to show you somebody better. And he happens to play in New England. Number 6. Dallas Goedert, another guy. How good can Dallas Goedert be? How good can he be? Can he be a Pro Bowl guy? You think he's better than the guy in Baltimore? Will he be better than the guy in Baltimore, San Francisco, Kansas City? Who else has a good tight end? It's probably it. Well, Hunter Henry's not bad in New England. Okay? Vikings, Hawkinson. Yep. How good can this guy be? How good can he be? I think the sky's the limit for him. I do. I think sky's the limit. He's one of my favorite Eagles. The number 5 most important player for the Eagles to get back to the NFC title game. Darius Slay. Now, again, I'm going to give you an opinion on this. I don't see it. I do not believe he's an elite corner. He's not a man cover corner. Plays center field. Had a great game against Justin Jefferson. Sure did. Had a horrific Super Bowl. And I saw an older player at the end of the year last year. Steve says he saw nothing wrong with Slay. Of course you didn't. No, you saw something wrong with Slay. You just don't want to say it. I'll say it for you, Steve. He didn't look very good the last 2 months of the season, including the playoffs and including the Super Bowl. There, I said it for you. Mike, it goes not elite, but a good coin. Yeah. That's not $14 million, but hey, okay. It's another conversation. Tone says if anyone doesn't think Slay fell off towards the end of the season, they're smoking crack. Oh, it's okay. Because, Tone, most Eagle fans don't look beyond the guy getting killed at the end of the year because he's in Kelly Green. But once he's not in Kelly Green and he's in a different uniform somewhere next year, they'll call him a scumbag. So it's all good. Ty goes, Slade shut down Justin Jefferson. Yeah, week 2. After that, he was lost. You do not play man coverage. You are a zone coverage team. Okay? The reason Slay was kicked out of Detroit because he's not a man cover. You play center field. And the reason that secondary looked so good last year was why? Because everyone got home. And you had 70 sacks. You know, it plays both hands. Corners were good. D-line got home. They stopped the run a little bit in the second half of the season. You don't have to believe what I'm telling you. And again, one more time, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I don't sit around blowing sunshine up your asses like everybody else does in Philly. I'll tell you to what we saw and where we are. You can fantasize about all your fantasy bullshit all you want. That ain't happening here. That is not happening here, and it never will. Slay had 3 INTs in the 2022 season. 2 of them came in week 2. He had 14 pass deflections, but he got beat much more towards the end. Hey, ran out of gas. Like I said, and like Tone said. Ran out of gas. Those are the facts. And then when Mahomes got a hold of him, he kicked his ass. When you start running out of gas, the technique falls apart. And Mahomes ate his ass up. Shit, man. They were targeting him in the Super Bowl. Targeting. I saw Slay today. Let me tell you a little secret here. Yeah, man, we're cool. I was cool with it when they contacted me. Well, here's just, hey, Darius, just a little note to you. They'd have moved you before they would have not hired Patricia. They'd have moved you. I know some people out there, especially people in here, will think, well, they wouldn't have hired Patricia. They'd have moved Slay. They would not have not hired Matt Patricia. He took it. Get this. So just so you know. Hey, Tone, right? This is what they did to Darius Slay this offseason. They made him take a pay cut, and they hired a guy he hated. What do you think they think of him? Are you high if you think they wouldn't have hired him? They made you take a pay cut, and they hired a guy you hated who fired you in Detroit. But you thought he was going to, what, give the Pope's blessing that it's okay to hire him? No, you're right, Keon. That makes sense, right? You took a $3.5 million pay cut and you hired a guy he hated. That's not just talking. Once again, right, Tone? Once again, that's not talking. That's facts. The funny thing is he knows it too because he said, I want what's best for the organization. Of course he does. At the end of the day, we're renting seats here, so the organization will always do what's best for them. Correct. They'd have moved his ass. What's up, Maniac? Oh, by the way, Philly Godfather will be on at 5:30 Eastern. Hey, let me just put this to you. Big Sills got approached about doing a movie today. Okay, I can't give too much up here, bud. Big Sills might be in a movie, like a biker gang movie. That's all I can say. Okay? How you doing? Movie, hey. No? Yes? Hey, wait a minute, look. Brokeback Bikers. Hilarious. Oh, Jackass 2. I should have shut my hole. Hey, Devin, I should have shut my face. I should not have brought. Let me continue here. Brokeback Bikers. Hey, let me continue here. So they hired a guy, Darius Slay, hated. And they made him take a pay cut. But, hey, is it okay if we hire Matt Patricia? Sure. Because, that's what the organization does. Because you know why? That just shows a lot of class. They would have moved that guy's ass faster than a New York minute. Okay? Faster than a New York minute. By the way, I can't wait to talk about the New York media. It's the New York media that's saying Bill Belichick's on a hot seat. You know why? Because they got their little diapers hurt when Bill said no to the Jets. And they're still holding that against Belichick and the Patriots. They can't get over it. Because that could have been them. Bill didn't want to coach with the Jets and Woody Johnson. And they're still holding that. He's on the hot seat. Really? If Bill Belichick was the head football coach of the New York Jets and he had won 6 titles, do you think they'd be firing him or saying hot seat? No, they got their little panties hurt. Yeah. At the break, check your Twitter DM. Grant Cohn ripped the 49ers in their quarterback situation. That's all right, Grant. I know you watch the show. It's pathetic. Chicken wing Purdy. You're trying to sell me Sam Darnold. Well, he could be the next Geno Smith. my God. Holy shit. Hey, the Eagles must be just sitting there at the NovaCare Center just laughing their ass off at them. All right. So I got Edmonds at 9. Seals, do you look good in leather? I'm not going to answer that because I don't know where you'll go with it, Quan. Hey, I'm not going to answer that because God knows what the next response will be. So I'm not going to say anything. No, I look horrible. No, I look horrible. I got Edmonds at 9. These are the most important Eagles for them to get back to the NFC title game in 2023. Edmonds 9, Nakobe Dean 8, DeAndre Swift 7, Goddard 6, Darius Slay 5. The fourth one, the fourth most important Eagle to get back to the NFC title game is Jalen Carter. How good can he be? What impact does he have? Jordan Davis, slimmed up, looks good, stayed away from White Castle a little bit, it looks good and shit. Well, he ain't the talent, that guy. He'll never have the talent of Jalen Carter. You guys want this guy to have 50 tackles. He's never had 50. He didn't have 50 tackles in 4 years at Georgia. Do you know that? He didn't have 50 tackles in 4 years. He had 9 sacks in 4 years and less than 50 tackles at Georgia. And you think he's going to put up 6 sacks and 50 tackles in 2022? He's never done that in his entire life. But miraculously, he's going to. Okay? He is a non-productive guy. He's a great athlete. He's big. But he doesn't produce numbers. Never has. So I think he would be in a good mod. I was supposed to be in The Sopranos. I told the story before. I'll tell it a little bit later. I think Jalen Carter, man, he's got to be around what Javon Hargrave did. And when Tone put those numbers up of what Javon Hargrave did last year, 10 tackles for loss, 16 hits on the quarterback, 11 sacks, Jalen Carter's got to kind of get close to that. I'm not saying that this kid's going to roll in there and get 11 sacks, but he's got to be kind of in the room. 7, 40, 50 tackles. He's got to be an impact because you're not going to get any kind of numbers out of Davis. Just because the car looks good don't mean it runs well. I mean, I don't give a shit what weight he lost. I don't care how he looks. Go make some plays. But don't you think that has? I don't know what it has. Go make some freaking plays. If that's 700 pounds overweight or 200 pounds underweight, I don't give a shit. Go make plays, kid. Judging a player by how he looks is stupid. Stupid. No wonder Brady went in the 6th round. Because you judged him how he looked. Go make plays. Go make plays. Guy ran a 4.78 and he looks all lean. Go make some plays, son. Give a shit how you look. You could be a model. Go make some football plays. Get in the backfield. Be a disruptive guy. Put up some sacks that you never have in your life. Do that. Still's talking like Jordan Davis has been in the league for 4 years. No, I'm talking about who the guy's been for the last 8 years. He's never made plays. Look at his college numbers. Look at his first year. No sacks, 19 tackles. I don't know. Shit, I had 1 sack, 22 tackles my rookie year. And I sucked. I sucked. Number 3, most important, Eagles. For them to get back to the NFC title game. I put them in a combo, Tone, everyone. I put them in a combo. I got AJ and Devontae. 1,000-yard duo. Hard workers. Good football players. Good teammates. They help one another. They help the room. The quarterback likes them. That's a good group. That's a good-looking group of wide receivers that really don't open their pie holes and go to work. I love when I saw, too, Devontae, when he got out there on the field today. I love the fact that he got down on a knee and thank God for all the things that he has and all the things he's doing. That's a man that's humble. When you're a man of God like that, you're humble and you're thankful that you have people around you and things that how hard you work. You're constantly humbled and you're constantly thanking people and God for what you have. I love that. I'm sorry, but if people don't like that, I do. I think if you can humble yourself before God, the penitent man always goes and sees the strength, in my opinion, and will always have internal strength. So I love the fact, okay? I love the fact that he gives his thanks to God. Number 2, Hassan Reddick, baby. Watch this. Hey, Tone, I don't usually do this. Okay? Yes. Hassan, I had to eat crow last year. Yes. Just massive production. He is an impact guy. Number 1 in third down sacks, cost fumbles, 16, beat the piss out of that 49er guy. I mean, I'm not going to go into any kind of deficiencies because here's why. His deficiencies do not outweigh his production. This guy is a highlight reel. He is an absolute highlight reel. I mean, if you put a running back or tight end on him, I'm going to make a point to you. And maybe you guys will disagree with me. You think he's the best pass rusher you've had since Reggie on the perimeter? I know Cole was a good is he better than Cole? Trent Cole? You think he's better than Trent Cole? Man, I don't remember Trent Cole making such impact plays like that. I mean, Trent was a good football player. He was good. He was a good football player, especially where you got him in the draft. But was Trent Cole better than Hassan Reddick? Was he better? Yeah, that's right. Richard says this, Sills, you count up all the games in the postseason and regular season, this guy almost had 20 sacks with a slow start getting out of the gate. Nick, I think Hugh's good too, man. Hugh Douglas too. Yes. Yeah, Hugh. But there's something about Reddick with this cost fumbles, third down sacks when you need them, and you need to get your defense off the field. Okay? JM. Okay, JM, I'll ask you. Do you think that Trent Cole was better? Just because he's the all-time sack leader means he's played here longer. I'm asking you, do you think that that guy is more of a weapon at the pass rush than what Trent Cole was? Trent, and I said it, Trent's a fabulous football player. Fabulous player, man. Fabulous. I'm talking, but I'm talking what you have now. I'm not talking all time. Oh, I am, I guess, talking all time. But I'll help with this. Let me quantify it then. I'm talking skill set wise, not length of career. When you look, who would you, okay, well, let me ask you this. In a football game of 60 minutes, and I'm going to take Reggie out of the conversation, would you rather have Trent Cole or Hugh Douglas or Hassan Reddick rush the passer in a 60-minute football game you had to win? Who would you take? Who would you take? I'm leaving Reggie out. That's not fair. Because I'm taking Reggie pretty much over everybody. And the debate with Taylor and him, flip a coin, I'll take the guy you don't want. And I'm good with it. You know what I mean? It's that close with Taylor and Reggie. If I lost that bet, I'm all right with who you give me. So if you had to win a 60-minute football game in their prime, Trent Cole, Hugh Douglas, or Hassan Reddick, who would you take? Jay says Hassan. Cole. Ty says Trent. Big Seals, I hear they seasoned Purdy's arm up. Carrots and onions. Well, they won't be serving that at Lincoln Financial. You don't serve salads at Lincoln Financial, my friend. You serve beer and brats. That's only for San Francisco. White wine spritzers and like little wiener dogs on toothpicks. You know? Cheese and shit. If a guy ever came over to me and said, Sills, you want a wiener dog and cheese and a white wine spritzer? I'd be like, get the fucking... Trent was better with the run, but Hassan is more lethal. Man, he is a weapon, dude. He's a weapon. Peppers and onions. There you go, Quan. Hey, Mr. Sileo, would you like to have a Napa, or would you rather have a Chandon? What? Do you speak English? Are we at a soccer game? I would think I was at a soccer game if I went to a Niner game. Mr. Sileo, are you from America? Yes, sir. We have white wine spritzers and lemon balls and wine. I'm at a football game, dude. Get away from me before I beat you up. hey. Yeah. White people food. Big Sills, man. Yeah, that's what I look like. Yeah, I got the map of Sicily on me. Okay. And here is the number one player you can't lose if you want to get back to the NFC title game. Are you ready? Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson. Okay? Lane Johnson. Everyone, listen to this. So when Lane Johnson, since 2013, has been in a Philadelphia Eagle football uniform and ready to play, your win percentage is 626. You're 79-47-1. And when Lane's not in the starting lineup, you're 13-22 for a 371 win percentage. This guy doesn't touch the ball. He doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't catch, and he doesn't run with it. And if this guy's not on the field, you ain't winning. You ain't winning. Did you hear those numbers? Dude, that's one of the most impressive things I've seen. So when Lane Johnson, since 2013, suited up for the Eagles, you're 79-47-1, 626 win percentage. And when he's not healthy, you're 13-22. Okay. Well, we know this. That guy's just as important as any player on that football field. And if he ain't on that field, you ain't winning. Holy shit. I don't think you can lose any one of these guys. If you had to lose somebody, look, because I don't think the depth is at corner. You can't lose Slay. Slay's got to play well. If you lose Swift, you got a bunch of trash cans for running backs. Dean's got to play. Here, so again, we'll recap here. I think Edmonds has to play well at safety. Dean's got to play well. He's got to play well. Hey, wait a minute. Do I think Edmonds will be an upgraded Gardner Johnson. I do. Do I think this is an opinion now? Do I think that Kobe Dean fills the role of being a middle linebacker and covers the TJ Edwards loss? No, I do not. He's not good enough. He's not better than TJ Edwards. But we'll see. And what you have on your side is he's never done it. Well, that's a good thing. Okay? It is. But let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you one thing, though. And for all of you guys who are throwing all this love here at Kobe Dean, don't you think, knowing full well when last year was playing itself out and they knew they weren't going to give TJ Edwards $7 million in the offseason, don't you think they would have tried to put him in more situations to get him ready for the upcoming season? Why would they go so blind into it like that and then just say, oh, well, he can replace him without even giving the guy? Usually, don't you try to get your replacement some reps? They didn't even do that. They didn't even play him to try to get him in on Kaiser White. Don't you find that odd? That they would just go, okay, we're going to plug and play with him. So you're going to replace 160 tackles basically cold. At least Davis got some reps reps. Jordan Davis got some reps last year, right? He got some reps. Even the backup tight end got reps. Even Jordan or Cam Jurgens got some reps. This guy got a limited number of reps. I don't know. Especially when you knew you were going to lose him. TJ Edwards. Trying to win a Super Bowl? So you didn't think he was good enough? So Kobe Dean wasn't good enough to step on the field last year for the Eagles, so that means you must have a lesser unit this year. That's what he's saying. You're trying to win a Super Bowl. Okay, so you're not going to put your best players on the field? He must not have been one of them. Oh, but he is now. Is that what you're saying, Ken? He wasn't good enough to play last year. You got a lesser football team on that side of the ball this year. So I guess now because there's lesser talent there, you're admitting that TJ was a better talent. If you say that. When Kobe Dean was given reps at the end of the season, he made plays. That Titans game. I don't remember. Sorry, not very much impact. Sills is reaching on what? You really believe, again, you think that he's better than TJ Edwards. I don't believe it. But again, that's an opinion. DeAndre Swift, I think he's got to have an 800, 500, 50 catch season to cover the number of 1,311 that was left. Dallas Goedert, do I think he'll? Yeah, I do. I think he's going in the right direction. I do. Name goes, you were wrong about Reddick. Yeah. Yeah, because here's why I was wrong, Name, about Reddick. Have you ever seen a guy on 3 different ball teams with double-digit sacks? Have you ever seen that? 3 different teams, Arizona, Carolina, and Philadelphia. Have you ever seen that? Most of the time, it's what's wrong with the player. So Arizona gave up on him. Panthers gave up on him. And the Eagles found out how to use him correctly. So it was on those other 2 organizations that they failed in using him correctly. He changed the narrative of himself by coming to Philly for a 3rd time in a row in 3 years and putting double-digit sacks up. And now what he did was he reversed it and put it on Arizona and the Panthers for not using him right. Yeah, you're right. It was the player who changed the narrative. Absolutely. Actually, Quan, it's Chicago. I think Slay's out of gas. We'll see. It's an opinion. Jalen Carter, I think the ceiling is so high for him. AJ and Devontae are maybe the best professional duo of NFL teammates and players in the league. Love these guys, especially together. Reddick's a weapon now. And Lane Johnson's your most important non-quarterback player on your team. The record dictates it. 626 win percentage, 79 wins, 47 losses. And you're 13-22 when he's not in a Philadelphia Eagle helmet. I think that is all you need to know when you're talking about the importance of Lane Johnson. All right. We're going to start out in hour number 2. We're going to talk about the Patriots. I do not think you're killing them. I do not. I don't think you have the defense to kill them. And I'm going to explain. Philly Godfather will join me at 5:30 Eastern time. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.